All right, so getting started today, the Bible study. We're going to be starting our series that we will conclude by the end of the semester. So the next four or five sessions will make up the series of the Bible study for this semester. And what are we going to get into? Well, I'd like to start this way. Let me ask you a little question here, and I want all of you to start thinking about it. The first thought that comes to mind is going to be what you really think about what I'm about to ask, okay? So the question is, what is the whole Bible about? Okay? What's it all about? What's the central message in the Bible? Lots of people have a concept about this. Unbelievers have a concept about this. Believers all obviously have a concept about this, but even unbelievers have the same concept about it, most believers do, which is erroneous. And I'll tell you what it is in the way of an acronym, okay? It's an acronym I heard long ago that to me actually really embodied the concept that many people have regarding the Bible, even many believers, which is not correct, okay? So let me share my screen here and host disabled attendee screen. How do you do this? We got to redo this here. I got it? Okay, there it is. Okay. So here's the acronym. Can you see it? Bible. The acronym I once heard long ago, which really embodies the thought of the concept of many people, is Bible stands for Basic Instructions Before Leaving Earth. Okay? So I want you to think about it. A lot of us have this concept. Oh, I look to the Bible as a frame of reference, as what I need to do. How do I need to behave so that the Lord is happy with me and the ground doesn't open up and I fall into the lake of fire? Many times we have this concept. The Bible is here to teach me what I need to do now so that God is happy with me. So they're the basic instructions before leaving earth. And I'll tell you, a lot of Christians have this concept, and that is not what the Bible is about. So what we're going to touch now is actually what the whole Bible is about. If you thought, well, it's hard to kind of say one thing, there's lots of things. No, you can summarize what the whole Bible is about, and we're going to do it for you. And we hope that by the end of the series, you will be absolutely convinced this is what the whole Bible is about. Okay, so what is the whole Bible about then? Well, the whole Bible, the entire Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, is a divine romance. The whole Bible. I hope by the end of today's Bible study you would realize something more about the whole Bible along this line. It is a romance. In this romance, you have one couple, and it is God and man. And the initiator of this romance is God. He's initiated this romance with man. And to communicate that romance, he wrote man a letter. That's the Bible. The Bible is a love letter. Listen, I know, talking to college students here, a lot of you may have one person in mind. Oh, it's that crush. You want to get married one day? You know, that guy, that wonderful guy, that wonderful girl, and you're just hoping one day to get a text message from them. And if you got a text message from them, you'd be like, oh, so-and-so texted me. And then you read it, and you would reread it and read it again, hoping to find something a little more being spoken in there of the heart of that person towards you. What are they trying to say? Well, listen, the Bible is a love letter. And I hope when we come to it, we can come with the same heart to what is God trying to say in this divine romance. Well, how can I show you the whole Bible is a divine romance? Well, let's start here. How does the Bible end? What causes the whole conclusion to come about? We know the Lord will return. The Bible tells us this. So how does the whole Bible end? Why does he return? What initiates his coming back? Is it war? Many of us think that the end of the Bible is war. No, that's Hollywood. We need to drop that concept. The end of the Bible is not war. Yes, there's Armageddon, there's that war, the Antichrist and so forth. But that's not the end of the Bible. How does the Bible end? As believers, I hope you realize and you know the Bible ends with a couple, a divine couple, God and man. It's the bride and the lamb who's the bridegroom. Okay? So I'm going to show you this. The ending. The last 2 chapters of the Bible have nothing to do with all of that other stuff anymore. Armageddon, the last war, the Antichrist, hell, none of that has anything to do with it anymore. The only thing we have left is this divine couple in this divine romance. So in Revelation 21, verse 1, it says, "And I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth have passed away, and the sea is no more." You realize even this earth is going to pass away. There'll be a new earth and a new heaven. So don't give your life to preserving something that will be terminated at the end. There's a new earth and a new heaven. And listen, we're not going up to heaven, but coming out of heaven. "And I saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband." Here you have the bride and the bridegroom. And going on a few verses, "And one of the 7 angels came and spoke with me, saying, 'Come here, and I will show you the bride, the wife of the Lamb.'" The New Jerusalem is the greatest allegory in the Bible. The last picture in the Bible is a divine couple. This city is not mere, it's an allegory. The Lord is not going to marry a physical city. The Lord will marry the church. And the church here is allegorized as a New Jerusalem. And the New Jerusalem is the bride, the wife of the Lamb. So close to the end, the last 4 verses of the Bible, guess what you have? The Spirit and the bride say, "Come." The end of the Bible is calling out to people to come to this conclusion. "And let him who hears come, and let him who is thirsty come. Let him who wills take of the water of life freely." This is the conclusion of the Bible. Okay, so if this is how the Bible ends, guess what? Actually, this is also how the Bible begins. The Bible also begins with a couple. It begins with Adam and Eve. And that Adam is a type of Christ. The bridegroom here in Revelation is Christ. And the couple in Genesis is actually also a picture of Christ and the bride, the church. So how do you know this? Well, in Romans chapter 5, verse 14, it reads, "But death reigned from Adam until Moses, even over those who had not sinned after the likeness of Adam's transgression, who is a type of him who was to come." Adam in Genesis is a type of Christ. What does type mean? Type means it's telling you a story. It encompasses a deeper thought. So what you see with Adam is a picture, a shadow. It's a type. Here's Adam, and here's the real reflection of what it's trying to tell you, and that's a type of Christ. So when you see Adam, you should see something else, and that is Christ, trying to tell you something regarding Christ. Well, what's the one thing in this story that Adam as a type is telling you about Christ as a type? Well, one particular thing is in Genesis 2:18, when God created man, he looks at this man who's a type of Christ, and he sees this man, and God said to this man, "It is not good for man to be alone." Listen, do you ever realize that? Adam was alone. Yeah, we all saw that. But do you realize this Adam is a type of Christ who is alone? Blasphemy. God is never alone. Well, actually, I didn't say that. The Bible says that. In John 12:24, it reads, "Truly, truly, I say to you, unless a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it abides alone. But if it dies, it bears much fruit." Yes, it's talking about dying, right? the Lord needed to die for us, to wash us of our sins. But why did he die? In this verse, it's not just so that there are more seeds who are clean. It's that this seed would not be alone. God was alone in eternity. And his desire was to have a counterpart that matched him. So there's Adam he created as a type of Christ. And when he saw Adam, first thing is, it's not good for you to be alone. So do you remember the story of Adam and Eve? What happened with Adam? Well, the first thing that happened with Adam is that God created all of the creatures around him, every creature. And when he created these creatures, he filed them across by Adam. Why? That Adam would name them. But is that the purpose of naming them? Listen, Genesis 2:20. And the man gave names to all cattle and the birds of heaven and every animal of the field. But for Adam, there was not found a help as his counterpart, indicating Adam's going through giraffe, elephant, monkey, dog, cat. He's looking. He was looking. And at the end of that, nothing. No counterpart for me. He was looking for a counterpart. So it's at this time that the Lord put Adam to sleep, and he pulled out a rib from Adam. And with that rib, he made Eve, woman. And he brought this woman to Adam, and Adam said, this time, every other time it was not. There's nothing else in creation that could match Adam. And listen, but this time when he saw Eve, it matched him. When God sees anything in creation, nothing matches him except the church. When he sees the bride, this time it matches him. Okay, so we need to move on here. Going on, the rest of the Bible is all this. This is all what the rest of the Bible's about. It starts this way, it ends this way, and everything in the middle is about this. You may think, wait a minute, what about Egypt, the children of Israel? There's the seas, there's the wilderness. Listen, in all of it, God's view is he is man's husband, and he's wanting to court man. So in Isaiah 54:5, he says, your maker is your husband. Your maker is your husband. This is the kind of relationship he was after with man. And in Jeremiah, where Jeremiah talks about the children of Israel's experience in the wilderness, listen, this is how God saw that experience. Go and cry in the ears of Jerusalem, saying, thus says Jehovah, I remember concerning you the kindness of your youth when you were young, the love of your bridal days, when you followed me in the wilderness, in a land that was not sown. When they were journeying through the wilderness, in God's eyes, those were bridal days. Bridal indicates days of courtship, days that would end with an engagement, a deeper romantic relationship with him. That is how God views those days. And even before that, he says, not like the covenant which I made with their fathers in the day I took them by their hand to bring them out from the land of Egypt. My covenant which they broke, although I was their husband. In his eyes, he was bringing them out of all the other things that were holding them back, holding them away from him. Him, their husband. This is what the whole Bible's about. Even the Old Testament, the pictures and types. What about the New Testament? Listen, it's the same thing. In John chapter 3, John the Baptist is talking to his disciples and he's telling them, yeah, all the people are going to Jesus. And the disciples of John were a little concerned. Wait a minute, we're losing work here. Everyone's following Jesus now. And John the Baptist had to tell them, yeah, because Jesus is the bridegroom. And he who is the bridegroom has the bride. So that's what John 3:29 says. He who has the bride is the bridegroom. He has everyone going to him because he's the bridegroom. And all those attracted to him are the bride. So later in Ephesians, when Paul is talking about relationships, man and the woman, he says, for this cause shall a man leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife. and the two shall be one flesh. Then he says, this mystery is great, but I'm not really talking about man and woman. I'm talking about Christ and the church. These relationships are just a type of Christ and the church. So if this is what the whole Bible is about, you have to consider, what do you really see? Even as believers, when you preach the gospel, your ministry of the gospel, what is that? What kind of ministry do you have? Well, Paul summarized his ministry in 1 Corinthians. And in 1 Corinthians 11:2, he says, I am jealous over you. These are the young believers he preached the gospel to, with a jealousy of God. For I betrothed you to one husband to present you as a pure virgin to Christ. This is how Paul would summarize his ministry. What kind of ministry do you have, Paul? I have a betrothing ministry. What kind of ministry do you have? Sometimes we have a fire-saving ministry. That's not the Bible. Yes, it saves them from the fire, but to what? Well, the real ministry of the Bible is to save them to their beloved, to their bridegroom, to Christ. So, where did Paul get this? Paul certainly didn't make this up. He's actually quoting from the Old Testament in Hosea. You know who said it first? God. In Hosea 2:19, God says, I will betroth you to myself forever. What is he doing in the Old Testament? All he's doing is betrothing, courting, captivating man to himself. Indeed, I will betroth you. To betroth means to promise, to give with a view to marriage. Everything he did with them was a view towards them being joined to him. Okay, so we want to end with this. We need a change in concept. When you come to the Bible, we don't want to come to, oh, what do I need to do? It's a text from God, right? Bible text. Lord, what are you telling me today? What are you speaking to me today? Well, one word in these next verses, 2 verses, the word worship, and used in John 4. There it says, God seeks some to worship him. Okay? And in John 4:24 it says, those who worship him must worship in spirit. What does it mean to worship? Well, we'll tell you. To worship God, the word, many times you think of, something reverent, something outward. You do things for him. In the Greek, the word worship, it means to come forward and kiss. It means pros, that's the word in Greek, proskineo. Pros means to come forward, and kineo means to kiss. The whole Bible, God wants man to come forward to him and kiss him. Kiss means to have an intimate and personal touch with God. And this is how the whole Bible ends. This is how the Bible starts. This is the center of the whole Bible. So may in our Christian life, this affect it. May it change in its core concepts from doing to actually loving him and having a deep and personal relationship with Christ. Okay, so I'm going to give this back to you brothers. How should we continue?
Break. Well, we only have a few minutes left. Maybe we can just have a little fellowship here and wrap up. What do you guys think? Have you heard this before? Is this all new to you? Is it like, shattering your world, or is this like familiar?
It wasn't really anything new. It was just a good reminder, I guess. Just the whole, we are here to just become one with Christ, and that's our only purpose in life. So, yeah. Anyway.
When I was in middle school, someone asked me to describe the Bible in one sentence, and I was like, I don't know, but I in that fellowship it was brought out like the entire Bible is just a divine romance, and it's a love letter from God. Like yeah, like what was being said earlier, and yeah, just seeing like throughout the entire Bible, this is repeated over and over because that's what the Bible is. It's just a divine romance. So yeah, we see God's heart is that he wants the church as his bride, and it's not just one part of the Bible, but it's throughout the entire Bible. So if someone asks you to summarize the entire Bible in one sentence, you can say it's a divine romance.
I just got the image. Oh, sorry. I was gonna say I just got the image of like we're in a dating period right now. Almost like like when you're really in love with someone, they're the one, right? And it's like one day we're gonna be married with God, but it's like right now we're sort of just like like you said, it's a love letter. So it's
Yeah,
like he's showing us he loves us
right.
all the time. Yeah. And he
Getting to
enjoys
know
that.
him, what he likes, what he doesn't like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why I always laugh when I think about it like that. It's funny.
Yeah. I'd never seen John 12:24 in that way. It was like the grain of wheat falling into the ground and dying. And if it doesn't die, then it's alone. Like I never noticed that as a picture of that story in Genesis. Like not good for a man to be alone. Like, wow, that's really cool.
I never knew that worship in Greek means to kiss, like to come forward and kiss. Without getting too icky, like I just got engaged, right? So I'm, I will soon be a bridegroom, and I will soon have a bride, and I think many of our religious concept of what it means to worship God is to do things for Him, right? But if I did a bunch of things for my fiance but never spent time with her, she wouldn't be happy, right? I could buy her a house, I could buy her a car, I could stock her fridge, I could get, I can give her all the things that I think she wants, doing all these things for her. But sometimes she just wants me to draw close and spend time in her presence and give her a kiss without getting too icky, like so. That's what it means, really, to worship God. Just spend time, just to spend time in His presence, right? There's a story, I don't want to get to it. There's Mary and Martha, right? Martha's running around doing all these things. Mary's the one that sat at Jesus' feet, right? Sometimes we're doing so many things that we miss Jesus Himself. We need to learn that truly to worship is to draw close and spend time in His presence, even to kiss Him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you reminded me of something that I often think about, where it's like, how much time do I spend trying to prove that I'm worthy, and not and wasting time trying to prove something that I can never even obtain. Actually, I can never gain that sense of worthiness. But I heard it like this one day. It's like I'll never be worthy, but He always said I'm worth it. It's like so. It's like, how much time do I waste trying to prove something to Him when He just, like you said, Alex, just wants me to draw close. It's not about proving that I can. He knows I can't. That's why He wants us to draw closer, and be dependent on Him. So yeah, no, I love that image of like drawing close and without getting too icky. No, I'm just kidding. Kissing Him, so.